everyone. Welcome to the Christmas episode. Now, normally I do have someone to share the episode with, but this year it's just me. So, Merry Christmas. Trying to decide what to do. I think I decided every year we all like to watch movies around this time, and everyone has their favorites. But I put together a list of the top 10 worst Christmas movies I have ever seen. Now, I know there's official lists and stuff. There's certain movies like Deck the Halls, which is on like every worst list. I've never seen it, so I can't really put it on here. But don't worry, I got plenty to work with. So, without further ado, St. Adam of Chaos Bringer Productions brings you my picks for the top 10 worst Christmas films that I have ever seen. And interesting enough, at number 10, not technically a Christmas film, but I watch this every Christmas, Jaws: The Revenge. I know some of you are thinking, wait a minute, Jaws isn't... How's that a Christmas film? Well, it takes place at Christmas. It's got Christmas carols in it, Christmas gifts in it. I really wish there was a scene of the shark wearing a Christmas hat in it. But yeah, I count this as a Christmas film. Not much to this movie. This is a movie that really killed the Jaws franchise. If you've ever seen it, it's, they should have called it Jaws: The Quest for More Money. It has this plot, so another shark comes to the beach. Only this time, this shark is after specific members of the Brody family. Now, Chief Brody has long since passed away because they could not get him to come back. They actually wanted him to film a cameo for this, and he just kind of laughed and hung up. So, Sean is now the new Chief Brody. Yeah, Sean, the younger brother, the little kid from the first one. And it opens up with him, he's getting ready to go home, spend his Christmas break with his mom and his fiance, and he gets called at the last minute to go out into the water because there's some kind of driftwood or something floating there, and they're afraid that it, inconvenience rich people. I don't know. You don't pay too much attention to a movie like this. Anyway, he goes out there and gets attacked by the shark, who actually laid a trap for him. If you go back and watch, the shark is holding this piece of wood out there, and it's absurd. But really what rings true to Christmas with this film is while Sean's being attacked, there's a choir practicing for the big Christmas concert on the dock singing The First Noel. And that scene has changed how I hear this song no matter what. No matter who's singing it, you do the, Noel, Noel. And I still hear in between the pauses, ah! As Sean's getting ripped apart. So, yeah, number 10, Jaws: The Revenge, which is really, it makes a list. It makes two lists, really, because I always recommend this to people, but it is a bad movie. At number 9, the sequel to a great Christmas horror film, Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. Now, this is kind of low on the list because, really, it's a lot of clips from the first movie. Without giving too much of the first movie away, the killer in that has a younger brother. And the cops are questioning the younger brother, but now he's older. And it's just referring back to clips. It's kind of a lazy sequel. It did bring us one of the greatest internet memes ever in Garbage Day. If you just look it up, it makes no sense, but it's internet famous. Not much more to say about this. I mean, they milked this series a lot more beyond this. I think they're up to like 5 of them. But this one gets the award for the worst one because it's not technically a new movie. This should be like Silent Night, Deadly Night 1.5. I think there's only like 20 minutes, 30 minutes of new footage shot. So there you go. At number 8, speaking of internet memes, Grumpy Cat's Worst Christmas Ever. Yes, the Lifetime channel made a Grumpy Cat movie starring Grumpy Cat, and made it a Christmas film. This movie is horrible, and it tells you it's horrible because it's narrated by Grumpy Cat, voiced by Audrey Plaza, who I can't tell if she's just purposely not giving a shit for the performance to come out even more, or it's just like, I got paid, let's do this. Either way, that part actually works because it makes Grumpy Cat sound like probably how we all imagine Grumpy Cat sound. But they interrupt the movie with like comments, this movie sucks, this is a bad movie, why'd you come back after the commercial break? Buy our t-shirts, that's a big thing in it. I don't know, like, we could watch the movie and make fun of it, but when the movie starts making fun of itself, it becomes so meta, it's just hard to enjoy. Not that anyone had any great aspirations of a Grumpy Cat film. But yeah, it's a movie based on an internet meme to sell more merchandise and make more internet memes. So, I guess it accomplished its thing, but it's really horrible. At number 7, we got the movie Elves. Yes, a horror movie called Elves. You cannot believe what is in this movie. This is like a late 80s, early 90s horror film. If you were to look at the poster or even watch the trailer, you would think it's about some evil elves that are killing people inside a mall. Unfortunately, the movie is so batshit insane. There's like a couple scenes of that. Only this thing is only called an elf like twice in the film. They also call it a troll. It also involves, I kid you not, satanic Nazis, incest, comments about sexual assault, animal cruelty, no redeeming characters whatsoever. And like the big plot of this thing, I guess back in the 40s, the Nazis figured out a way of summoning elves and then having them mate with a virgin to give birth to a master race. I want to know what drugs the writers were on when they came up with this. I think we all would like to know. It also has Grizzly Adams in it. He's kind of the main star, but he doesn't even live through the whole film. So I don't even have words for this. This is something so insane, you'd have to actually watch it to appreciate how out of this world it actually is. And by the way, the elf impregnates someone at the end, so it's a weird movie, never got a sequel. It's insane, but it's not fun insane, and I think that's what really hurts it. There's a lot of Christmas films that, like Gremlins or something, that has its own insanity, but the insanity is kind of fun. Elves is not there, and it's kind of a hard watch unless you're like the most diehard fan of just horrible movies. So, Elves, even though there's one elf in the film, so nothing about this gets it right. At number 6, we got The Lodge. Now, The Lodge is weird because a lot of critics like this film, and there are some good performances in it, but it's a terrible film, like when you really sit back and analyze everything. So what happens is this couple has kids and they got divorced. Dad has a new fiance, so mom kills herself. Hell of a way to start off a movie. And so the kids are obviously distraught about this. So dad, trying to deal with everything's going to take them away to a winter lodge and they can get to know his fiancée better. He actually sends them with her because he's got to stay in the city and take care of some things. The fiancée used to belong to a death cult and got out of it, but it kind of scarred her. So then she starts like seeing things that she can't quite believe are real. And, she has antipsychotic drugs that go missing. The whole time, and you call this twist, that's not really much of a twist. The kids are messing with her. They're setting everything up to make her go crazy. Now, here's the question I gotta ask. Someone with this background, why would you antagonize them to lose their mind? Because she starts hallucinating about being back in the cult, and the cult was right and everything. And this movie ends the only way it could end, and I'm sure you can predict the ending. And I'm watching this thing going, what the hell? And yeah, there's like Christmas imagery throughout this film. There might even be a couple Christmas songs. I don't know, because I'm sitting there going, are they out of their minds? What's going on? So if you really want to check this movie out, I don't recommend it one bit. Again, aside from some of the performances, which are really solid, but not enough to really overlook this plot saying, what the hell is going on? So yeah, The Lodge. Merry Christmas? I don't know. At number 5, one of the worst Ben Affleck movies from the early 2000s. And that's saying something. We have Surviving Christmas. Yes, Surviving Christmas. One of the 3 box office bombs that he had like in a row that really hurt his career until he started turning around with Hollywoodland, and later on The Town, Argo, and so forth. But no, this movie, Ben Affleck is rich. He's a rich guy. He didn't really have that traditional family Christmas. So he rents a family, a down on their luck family, with James Gandolfini as the father and Catherine O'Hara as the mother. And it's miserable. Everyone in this film's miserable. Everything about the jokes are miserable. Nothing is really funny. And he is just torturing this family. He's paying them, but he's still torturing the shit out of them. So you're sitting there going, why does this exist? And I could not get into this film. Now, I will compare it to another film that I actually do enjoy. That's a horrible film with a lot of insanity. The Christmas film, Just Friends, with Ryan Reynolds. The difference being is the insanity in that film is a ton of fun to watch. Anna Faris is completely insane in that. Ryan Reynolds gets everything he has coming to him, and none of it's good. Everything there works, because you laugh at how just batshit insane this is. This movie is just cringy. I mean, there's a masturbation joke where the kid finds internet porn and his mom happens to be on it, and it messes him up. If this kid doesn't grow up in this universe to be a serial killer, I'll be amazed. But there's just nothing redeeming about this. You can't even laugh at how miserable this is. It's just there. And I think everyone did it for a paycheck. I can't think of one actor in this film that actually believed in the performance and the material and is like, no, we can make this a classic. I think everyone's phoning it in, and especially James Gandolfini, who is just lost in this film. So, Surviving Christmas, I wouldn't want to survive a Christmas like that. At number 4, and this is kind of a cheat because it's 2 films together, but bear with me here. Home Alone 4 and 5. The straight-to-DVD Home Alone movies. I mean, they should have stopped at 2. They tried an experiment with 3 and it didn't work. And because 3 failed so bad, not only did these next films go straight to video and DVD, for 3, since they made up new characters, I think the studio freaked out and said, let's bring back the old characters. So you have the McAllister family with different actors. And none of them look like anyone. I mean, the dad is played by the lead from Chicago PD. And that's all I could think about when I watched this. But no, this is bad. I mean, the kid that plays Kevin, I think, is younger than what Macaulay Culkin was. So I'm like, Kevin is just aging in reverse. It deals with his parents getting a divorce. See a common theme here in these movies. They don't know how to write divorced parents. And his dad's dating a rich woman. Kevin goes to stay with his dad for Christmas. And since we're bringing characters back, Marv, one half of the Sticky Bandits, is back with his wife to try to break in this house. Don't know what happened to Harry. And Marv this time is played by French Stewart, which is funny because what's his name? Daniel Stern, who plays Marv in the first 2 Home Alones, is tall and lanky, and French Stewart is not. He looks more like Harry, and he's always squinting too. I can believe that this is Marv in the sense that because of the dumb shit he's saying and he's always squinting, he had brain damage from those bricks Kevin threw at him in the second one. But it doesn't work. The characters are dumber. It retreads a lot. I know that's something about the Home Alone films. They're always you got to have the big trap sequence. And this is spread out through a few days of they keep trying to break in this house, traps, they leave, break in, traps. There's even a scene where they introduce each other, you know. Marv and his wife look up and Kevin's sitting there and Marv's like, "It's you." And she thinks he's someone else and he's like, "No, that's Kevin." I really thought he would have said, "That's the Antichrist right there," considering how often Kevin tried to kill him. Part 5 is no better. Now, they do go back to having new characters, but it deals with some family that has like a winter home, and there's a priceless painting in the basement, and art thieves are trying to break in. Really, I got these movies confused with each other. I thought they were all the same characters because they played them back to back. I could not give a shit about separating things because everyone looks alike. The writing's just as shitty across the board. Now, I actually think these are worse than that Home Sweet Home Alone movie. That's just me. But no, these straight-to-video ones, they never should have happened. They were a cash grab. Avoid them at all costs. Home Alone 4 and 5. At number 3, I have Black Christmas, the 2006 remake. Not only is that one of the worst remakes I've ever seen, it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. The original Black Christmas, I love it. It's a 70s slasher film. One of the cool things about it is you don't know who the killer is. As the movie ends, they never tell you who the killer is. This one tells you right up front at the beginning who the killer is. But I wasn't even prepared for some of the shit that happens in this. There's an escape from an asylum. There's cooking Christmas cookies made out of human flesh. There's a incest baby that grows up to be the second killer who eats eyeballs. And it was so poorly explained in this film that when she popped up, I had no idea what was going on. I mean, I didn't have a high expectation for this remake anyway, but they still failed whatever expectation I could have had. It's not good. It's so not good. The ending, they actually reshot because the studio wanted, they wanted a more action-packed ending. The director wanted to leave it kind of ambiguous. Kind of like the first one, so that's something they kind of got. I mean, yeah, you still have the body in the attic, which is universal across any Black Christmas film. But they reshot it with, the killers dying and everything, and I don't think anyone cared. I don't know what this movie made. It couldn't have made back its budget. But yeah, it's awful. It is truly, truly awful. And like I said, I thought it was the worst Black Christmas movie I'd ever seen. Up until number 2 on this list, Black Christmas, the 2019 remake. It takes a hell of a talent, if we can call it that, to outdo the 2006 film in just shittiness. But that's what this one is. Number 1, it's a PG-13 slasher film. And that doesn't work. But also, a little more insultingly, it's intended to be PG-13. The director, who is also one of the writers on this, felt so proud of what she wrote. She wanted to make it PG-13 so it's more accessible to everyone. So everyone could see this message. And don't subject your kids to this. It tried to follow what Get Out did, of having kind of a woke horror film. But where Get Out worked, this really didn't. And I think it can... So, and I said this a lot, there aren't any redeeming characters in this movie either. There really aren't. So it takes place on a college campus, like every Black Christmas film. But this one deals with... There's this college frat, and these guys are, just the worst people you could ever find in a frat. Now, in this college, I guess the guy who founded it was a misogynist who owned slaves. So there's statues of them, and they're getting the statues tore down. But the frat saves the statues, or statue, and that's very important because it comes back later in the film. But your protagonists aren't any better. They talk down to everyone. They act smug to everyone. And where there is a date rape scene with this college, the girl who is victimized by it gets bullied by the protagonist to talk about her experience. No, I'm sorry, talk about would make sense. To sing about her experience during a Christmas show that the frat would be watching. And she sings a song about how the guy assaulted her. And she did it against her will. And I'm like, you cannot have a protagonist that's going to bully and push someone who's been a victim of assault into doing this. It's like, I know you had to do something against your will, but I'm going to push you into doing something against your will to talk about the thing that was done to you against your will. It doesn't work. And to make it even worse, she posted online. So the girl who suffered the abuse is now being targeted on the internet and facing abuse on the internet due to a video that she didn't want to be in and never gave permission for this girl to put up. And these are supposed to be our heroes. The frat, on the other hand, is murdering women. Any woman that is too strong, I guess, too efficient, too, doesn't need a man, these guys are killing. You think it's one killer, and I don't care if I spoil this for anyone, because please don't watch this film. The whole frat are killers. And the reason they are is because the statue I told you about, the founder poured all his evil and everything into this, and it comes out like the symbiote from Venom, just this black goo, which someone else said they literally had toxic masculinity in this film. Like, literally. And so they do this satanic ritual, and they paint it on their head, and then they're possessed by the guy. It's horrible. It doesn't make a point. The frat speaks in every stereotypical misogynistic verbiage you can think of. Meanwhile, your protagonists speak in every Twitter buzzword you can imagine. There's no entertainment value to this, not even to make fun of, because a PG-13 slasher film, most people who watch slasher films go in to see the gore and the violence and everything, and that's cut out, so then what is there to see? This message, don't be a shithead? I think most of us get that. So it's not even preaching something that's life-changing. It took a franchise that I like, and after that 2006, I was wanting something to live up to the first one, and this definitely wasn't it. So, it's one of the worst Christmas films ever. That's why it's on this list. It's one of the worst remakes ever, because it outdid the other worst remake ever. And it's one of the worst movies I've ever seen. So there you go, number 2, Black Christmas, 2019. Fuck off. So that brings us to number 1. The unholy sewage that is the worst Christmas movie I've ever seen. And I watched this as a joke. And I'm not even happy that I did that. And it's funny I say unholy, it is Kirk Cameron's Saving Christmas. Yes, anyone that's familiar with Kirk Cameron knows he's lost his mind. It's lost it a long time ago. But he made this film because Fox News said there was a war on Christmas and he wanted to cash in on that. And it's everything you think it would be, but with none of the talent and none of the cinematography. It's a void of anything enlightening, entertaining. Number 1, Saving Christmas. Christmas isn't in danger. I don't care what anyone says. Christmas is not in danger. It's the number 1 celebrated holiday in this country, at least. Maybe throughout the world. It's such a cash grab that no one will ever stop Christmas. I mean, hell, they're putting up Christmas decorations for sale with the Halloween decorations. Thanksgiving, obviously they don't care about. They go right to Christmas after Halloween. And Halloween, is starting to lose some of its pushback because, again, they're putting Christmas decorations next to the Halloween decorations. So Christmas is not in danger, but Kirk will tell you it is. He'll say, oh yeah, there's people that don't want you to say Merry Christmas. I don't think anyone loses their shit if you say Merry Christmas, but I know a ton of people that will lose their shit if you say Happy Holidays, because God forbid you acknowledge there's more than one holiday around this time of year aside from Christmas. But it gets bad. He's like, oh, people are saying don't celebrate so loud. Well, I mean, if you're in a residential neighborhood and someone has to work the next morning and it's 2 a.m, yeah, maybe turn it down. But no one is saying, let's outlaw Christmas. Let's get rid of Christmas. Blah, blah. No one's saying that shit. But Kirk felt the need to make a movie defending Christmas. But he doesn't even defend Christmas. I can't even figure out what he does. He tries to redefine Christmas. Case in point. He talks about the nativity scene. But instead of focusing on the nativity and the story of the nativity and everything, he focuses on the swaddling cloth for the baby. Talking about how decades later, it's going to be the same cloth that wrapped his body after he died. I don't know why that was the focus of his whole speech. A lot of this is done in acts, right? The next thing he talks about Christmas trees, and he's such a condescending prick through this when his co-star is talking about, well, they said this, and, the Druids invented this, which is true. A lot of our Christmas decorations, what we like to use, came from other religions that weren't Christianity. He just kind of incorporated them. It's okay to admit that. But Kirk's like, oh, no, because, see, God created the Druids, and Druids, created Christmas trees, so God created Christmas trees. I mean, if you want to use that kind of logic, fine, but I don't think it's going to hurt anyone's feelings to be like, yeah, this is where the idea to bring a tree inside came from. But when he's going on about it, he compares a Christmas tree to a cross. If you just look at it, it doesn't look like a cross, and it's so easy to make fun of because you're like, yes, and that's why we make them glow. So they look like burning crosses. Kirk Cameron, do you really want to go down this road? No, you don't. And it goes on from there and there. How Santa beat people up, the Santa Claus, St. Nicholas, beat people up for not believing in Jesus strong enough. And then the last third is just an exercise of insanity, talking about how presents under the tree look like the city of Jerusalem, and how we have to take old symbols and give them new meaning. So basically, what you're talking about is just a bunch of bullshit, and this is what you want to put on? I mean, and it breaks out into a hip-hop Christmas party, and I'm just like, for fuck's sake, this is cheesier than a Full House episode. Which, yeah, he couldn't even get his sister into this. But, yeah, the absolute worst movie. There's nothing redeeming about it, nothing entertaining about it. And it just talks, excuse me, talks down to everyone that watches it. There you have it, everyone. The top 10 worst Christmas films. Oh, damn. Ranting about this has dried my throat out. So, there you go. So, from everyone here at Chaos Bringer Productions, we say Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Yule, Happy December, and stay tuned. Damn. Stay tuned, and we will see you all in 2022. Bye.